Hello, my ladies. I have a very special bonus episode for you guys today. This is with a good friend of mine. Her name is Marci Owen, and she is a life coach and self love expert. And I love that we collaborated to bring you this podcast episode, and I learned so much, and I know that you guys are going to as well. I wanted to share that she is actually launching tomorrow something that she is calling the Self Love Lab. And if you want to know how to love yourself, if you want to feel good about yourself and feel confident about yourself, Marci is the one to go to. I will put all of her links in the show notes. So all you have to do is just go to where the description is in your podcast, where it tells you what this podcast episode is about. And all of her links and details will be in there. Go check her out. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast episode. I love Marci and I love you guys so much. Enjoy. All right, ladies, I am so excited today. Today, I have my friend and fellow coach, Marci, and she is here to talk to us about self love. And I am excited about this. So, first of all, we just need Marci to introduce herself to you guys because you guys don't know her. So, Marci, tell my ladies who you are.
Well, first of all, I'm super excited to be here with you today. I love your work. I think it's really, really important because there's a lot of women, a lot of us that are going through stuff like that, the
Yeah.
pornography and all that. So it's an important work. Um, I am Marci Owen, and I am a self-love coach. So I have well, I should say I do the Christian, I mean, I'm like for Christian women, but really I have anybody's work welcome, right?
Right.
But so I just help women learn how to love themselves more.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes confidence and the relationships improve and everything in their life just starts to get in technicolor.
I love that. I love how you were like, well, I just help women to love themselves more. As if that's like that's like the easiest basic thing you could do. And yet it's something that is so important and so many people truly struggle with it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
I think and then that's why I'm so excited you're talking to us today about this because so the reason Marci's on here, one, is because I just love and admire her so much. But two, when I was thinking about what to do for my 200th podcast episode, I put this on Instagram. Many of you guys know because you responded. And I said, what should I do my 200th podcast episode on? And Marci commented and she said, I think you should have me on your podcast. And I
Yeah.
want to talk about solid self love. And even just the title, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
because I don't even know what that means. So
Right.
come on, Marci, tell me what solid self love even is.
Okay. Let's do it.
I'm ready.
So solid self-love is a love that's always there.
Mm,
It's unconditional love
sure.
for ourselves. It's like well-rounded. It's where you solidly love all the parts of yourself.
Sure.
You
That's
know,
fascinating because there's so many parts of us we don't want to love.
right?
Yes. So many parts of us that even if we are aware of them and we know they're not our favorite parts of ourselves, we will want to this is what I have seen, what I've not only in my clients, but also myself, is want to not love that part of ourselves because
Mhm.
we'll think that if we do, then it stays,
Right,
right? It's like that part of you that's like, I can't love myself if I'm 30 pounds overweight because then I'll just stay 30 pounds overweight. I have to
right.
hate myself a little bit
Mhm.
because otherwise nothing will inspire me to change.
And that's the furthest from the truth.
Right.
It's like if we have these parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we're very critical of, or even hate,
Right.
it doesn't help us improve.
Right.
It does just the opposite.
Right.
I love like, for those of you that have had a dog, when a dog knows it's done something, like say it's chewed something up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's humans like, who did this?
Right.
And what does the dog do? It sits in this posture, like these shoulders are rounded, heads down, like into shame.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm so in trouble. I did such a bad thing. And so I kind of think about that with these parts of us that we don't like, kind of sitting in the corner, slumped over,
Mm-hmm.
feeling bad.
Yeah.
And it prevents you from loving yourself. And like, I don't care if it's, I mean, we're going to talk about the parts of us. There's the three parts of us, and we're going to talk about each one of them. But if there's this part of us that we dislike, it affects you going forward. It affects you
100%.
today. It affects
Right.
your future.
100%. I love
And
this
so it's
because,
like,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so maybe we can't all the way get to loving that part, but
Yeah.
let's go for acceptance then. Let's
Yes.
start with that,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
100%. I love that because I think so often we know or will want to love ourselves. Like we'll have that as the goal. But if you try to love yourself and you don't know how,
right?
then it's very exhausting, right? You just kind of, because you're trying to think your way out of your feelings, you're trying to convince yourself to believe things about you that you don't actually, and it gets exhausting. You wear yourself down. And so then we want to swing to the opposite, which is the just fine. If I can't love myself, then I'm just going to hate myself.
Yeah.
And we forget that or we don't even recognize that there is an option, a third option, which is acceptance.
Let's just meet in the middle somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because just like with anybody else, anybody else that we have relationships with, there's parts that we love and there's parts that aren't our favorite,
Right.
and we make it work.
Right.
So why can't we do that for ourselves? We know how to do it. We just need to do it, turn it, towards us,
100%.
you know? So like a solid self-love is a love that says, I see you,
Mm-hmm.
the messy parts, and I love you anyway. I see you when you don't show up the way you would have liked,
Right.
and I love you anyway,
Mm-hmm.
or I accept you, right?
Yes.
I see you when you fail. Yes, and I love you.
Yeah.
Like, and I've got you, you
Yes.
know?
I love that.
And I also like, I mean, this is something that I don't know that we really understand, but we have like, think about your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You have a best friend?
I do. My twin sister.
Oh, that's right. What's your relationship with her like?
Amazing.
Oh, why? Do you check in with her?
Yeah. We live
Yeah.
next door. We're next door neighbors. So we
Okay.
see each other a lot. We talk a lot, but we haven't always lived
Mm-hmm.
next door. So it's not the proximity that makes it a great
Right.
relationship. Um, it's all my thoughts about her. I just think
Right.
she's like fantastic.
So, do you encourage her?
Yes,
Yeah. Do you give her the benefit of the doubt
always.
when she maybe doesn't show up the way you
Yes.
would have thought, would have liked, right?
Yes.
Do you speak kindly to her?
Yes.
Do you know what her favorite things are?
Yes.
Like, do you check in with her when
Yes.
you think about her?
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Y- you've created this relationship with her,
Hmm.
and a lot of times we don't even realize that we need to do that for ourselves.
100%.
Like, we have a relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
So are we MIA,
Yeah. Most of the time we're just avoiding it, right?
or are we the mean girl,
Yes. The
or
critical
are we
one.
like you and your twin?
Yeah. That's so
Amazing. I love you.
fascinating. It reminds me of something that I saw. I've seen it multiple times on Instagram. They were like, all right, if you were asked to list your 5 favorite people or list your favorite people, it's like, how many people would you list before you listed yourself, right? And that's such a fascinating concept to me because
Yeah.
I have done a lot of work and I do love myself, but it's fascinating that I still don't think of myself when I'm listing my favorite people. And I think one of the biggest blocks to this, and you can tell me this is your expertise, but what I have seen is the idea that it's selfish, right? That it's
Mhm.
selfish to take that much that kind of an internal look, or to focus on yourself that much is selfish, and we shouldn't take, even though there is like the whole self-love movement, right? It's a little bit more like self-care. It's like put the band-aid on it, give yourself a bubble bath, make yourself feel better. But I think we avoid taking the deeper look and really getting to know ourselves on a deeper, have a better, deeper relationship, a more honest relationship, because it's one, we think it's selfish, and two, we have so much self-judgment.
Yeah.
So when we uncover things we don't like and we don't know what to do with them, then it makes us not want to look again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this I'm being selfish is a huge hurdle
Yeah.
for women because we give and give and give.
Yeah.
And, we're socialized that way.
Right.
Um, and it's in our DNA, I think, as
Yeah.
well. In for women that are Christians, it's in our culture.
Right.
And so it's can be confusing. We're like, we're always supposed to be thinking of other people. We're taking care of our family. We're da 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 da, all those things. And just to even think about ourselves, it's like, no, that feels wrong.
Right.
That feels selfish. But I'd offer to you that it's actually selfish to not.
Absolutely.
Because when we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't solidly love ourselves, we uh, limit our like how we show up. We
100%.
affect how we show up.
Yes.
We're not in as good a frame of mind
Right.
because we might be feeling crappy about this. We might be criticizing ourselves. And so we might show up in ways that we don't want to, that we feel bad about because we
Yes.
sharp or we get ornery or we withdraw. That's selfish.
Yes.
How about
100%.
we look at that being selfish?
I know, we have it backwards. One of the
Right.
best examples that I always think of with this resonated with me, right? As a young mom, like I talked to I knew so many other young moms that wanted to lose weight, right? That wanted to lose the baby weight, whatever it was. And they thought, well, I just feel so bad. I can't get up early or go exercise or take my kids to like the gym, and put them in daycare, because I just
Right.
feel so bad leaving them there. I don't feel like that's time that I should be spending with them. I should just do it after they're asleep. But
Right.
then they never did it, right?
Hmm.
And it was just so fascinating, because then if they aren't healthy in the way that they want to, then they don't have the energy or the capacity or the ability
Yep.
to run and play tag with their kids. Or they're just so deflated emotionally about how they feel about themselves
Or in
that,
resentment.
yes, 100%. And it comes out in how you talk to your kids and how you treat
Yeah.
your kids and how you think about your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It totally affects us. So it's kind of selfish, not kind of, it is. I think it's selfish to not,
Yeah, I completely agree.
you know? So, and it just keeps adding on like more and more negative, you know?
Right. It snowballs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
snowballs. Yeah. So let's do this. The parts of ourself that we want to solidly self love
Hmm.
is our past self,
Oh, yes.
our present self,
Hmm.
and our future self.
I love that.
And like whether you realize it or not, you have a relationship with each one of these parts of you.
100%. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
So what's coming to my mind is, especially for my ladies, they might love, I don't know if they love themselves at any point.
Mm.
I think a lot of times they hold a lot of resentment or blame to their past selves if they didn't see this coming, like with their
Uh-huh.
spouse, right? Or if they knew about it but thought it would go a different way, right?
Hmm.
They have some judgment. I shouldn't have married him. I should have thought twice about this. I should have considered this more. Or maybe if they don't second guess past decisions, like the marital decision, maybe they second guess um, how they came into the relationship or how they've responded in the relationship. They have a lot of resentment,
Yeah.
right, toward their past self. I don't know if that's like super common, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
A lot of judgment on their current self is a big one.
Yeah.
Um, and I think they don't feel a lot of hope toward their future self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So think about for the what you just kind of went through each one of them, right?
Mm.
But like for the example of looking at our past self, I should have known better, or I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done this, like all the woulda, shoulda, couldas.
Yeah.
What good does that do?
0.
Zero. We
In
don't
fact,
have
it
a
just
time
adds more
machine.
negative.
We don't have a time machine.
Right.
We can't go back and change it.
Right.
And so to, loop on that and to keep beating ourselves up with, I should have, whatever,
Right.
fill in the blank, um, you're just taking yourself out
Yeah.
and you're not helping yourself. So, um, what about if we just like it's a choice if we're going to have the resentment
Yes.
or the regret?
Yep.
It's a choice.
Yes.
So you can keep doing that if you like the way that feels.
Right.
Or what about if we just think about what would solid self-love do for my past self?
Mm.
Like what if my past self was my best friend?
Yeah.
How would I support her?
Mm-hmm.
Would I say, well, you should have known better?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Uh-huh.
Like, no, we don't do that with our best friends.
Right.
We don't. Right.
Right.
And so I think like our past self, um, that's the one that we have probably the toughest relationship with.
Mm. Right. Because hindsight's 2020. We have
Right.
information now that we didn't have then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can be like we just talked about, like shame ourselves,
Right.
regret, resentment. We can scold ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, there's just so much that we can carry with us. And so the thing that I want us to think about doing is to zoom out
Right.
and think about how if I was being a best friend to me back then, you know, how would I talk to myself?
Mm-hmm.
What would I do for her?
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Um, how can I build my relationship with her?
I love that.
Because would you say that with all of your women that are in that boat,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that they did the best they could with what they knew?
100%. They did the best they could.
Like, and they didn't know what they didn't know either,
Correct. Yes.
right?
Hey, ladies,
They,
I hope all
they,
my ladies are listening. You didn't know what you didn't know. This is something I coach on all the time. The reason that I have found that my ladies like to judge themselves for what they did in the past is because their brain thinks it will somehow prevent them from making the same mistake in the future, right?
protection
It's
mode,
like,
yeah,
no, I have to learn from my mistakes, but we can learn from our mistakes without hating ourselves for making them. And even if you made a decision that didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to or thought that it might, doesn't mean it was a mistake,
right.
right?
Yeah,
There are so many actual mistakes that I've made, sins that I have committed in my life that I wouldn't necessarily go back and choose again. And yet I hold nothing but love for my past self because I know that I did the very best I could in that moment.
yeah, yeah. And I think I think it's just part of our default brain that wants us to just like it's the protection mode part.
Right.
And we're just going to remember this and so we don't do it again and we're
Yes.
just going to stay here. But again, what would love do?
Yeah.
What would
That's a great.
self-love do? Because that other one just
Correct.
keeps us stuck in the past.
Hmm.
And so if we were just to be like, okay, this is what's going on for me.
Hmm.
How can I, like, what I really need instead of like shaming myself or blaming myself, I really need compassion and
Yes.
understanding.
Yeah.
That's the kind of voice I need,
Hmm.
right? Kind of like I like to look at, because I like to look at it and be like, I know what you went through, sister.
Yeah.
I know, right? And you know what? I actually look up to you. Like, think about
Yeah.
a best friend maybe would be saying something like
Right.
this, right? And you know what? I love you, and I'm with you. I've got you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a soft place to land for you.
Hmm.
You know, um, and to just like let's not should on
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes. I love that. I love this thought you keep bringing back. It's not just like, I see you, I accept you, I have compassion for you, but you're like, I've got you. And to me, that kind of brings to my mind the present self, right? It's
Yeah.
like your present self that's looking at your past self that says, I've got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you did the best you could. Now it's my turn. I'm going to step up. I've got you, right? Like I've got your back. I'm going to back you up on this. And I love that just kind of thought, right? It's like, I'm not going to leave you high and dry. Like I'm with you. We're
Yeah.
together and I'm coming in. Like I'm your, I don't know the baseball term. I don't know why this is coming to my mind. Is it the pinch hitter or I don't know what it is. It's like
I
the one
do.
that you
So
bring in
just
at the
keep
end. That's
going.
like, I'm going to do it. Is
The pinch hitter, yeah.
that what it is? Right?
Yeah. Well, or that could be the cleanup hitter. The
Oh,
cleanup
there you
hitter
go.
bats in the number 4 spot and they, come in and clean out off the bases
Yes.
and score all the runs. Yeah.
Yes. Right? There you go. You know baseball.
I played a lot of ball.
There you go.
So, not baseball, but softball. But anyway, um, yeah, now I lost my train of thought.
Now we're in our present self,
It's like,
right? Your
well,
present self.
almost.
That's like, I've got you. Oh
I just
yeah,
wanted
go.
to say one more thing about the past self, and
Yes.
then let's do that. Is that I know what I was going to say. Acknowledging that part where I'm like, I see you, I know what you've been through.
Hmm.
That's really important that we acknowledge
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, we're that friend that doesn't show up, we're ignoring her,
Yes.
right? Or we're silencing her.
Hmm.
So we want to acknowledge it, but then let's not stay there.
Right.
It's like come on girl,
Yeah.
you're pretty, you're like look how like what whenever we've gone through hard things, we also have grown and we've cultivated a lot of strengths and
A hundred
gifts.
percent. Yeah.
And like let's think about that,
Yeah.
you know. So you can't harbor negative feelings for your past self and then think that you're just going to be okay with who you are today.
Yes.
You can't carry how
Correct.
you think and feel about your past self and bring it into your everyday present life and think that you're just going to be fine and that you're going to
Right.
think you're great and that you're going to love yourself. It
Right.
doesn't work that way.
Right. Because your present self is a result of your past self.
She's carrying stories
Yes.
and still living them
Correct.
from the past,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so think about what's your relationship with your past self and that shows you maybe some work
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done,
Right.
right? And so the present self, like that is anything from 5 minutes ago to all the way back. Like, it's just not right this minute.
Right.
But because I think it's important to realize it could just be a couple minutes ago, like how we may have reacted or to something. We're like, dang it, or
Yes.
good job me, like whatever. But and all the way back to our
Yes.
childhood,
Yeah.
right? Um, and this moment is really the only one that matters the most
Mm-hmm.
because it's the one we can do something about. We can't
Correct.
go back in the time machine, right?
Right.
But it's the one we have control of right now.
Right.
So I like my coach says this moment, this breath.
Mm.
And I really like that to just help me like, okay, this moment, this breath, this is
Yeah.
what's most important. This is where am I? Like, what do I want to do here?
Right.
Because how you treat yourself in this moment, this breath is going to have the ripple effect,
Right.
right? For the rest of our day, our week, our month, like year, life.
Yeah. I love that.
Um,
This is a mentality that I got into when I was losing baby weight so many times, was um recognizing that our brain often wants to put it on our future self, right? Our future self is the one that says, I'll start on Monday, right? That's like, I'll start my diet on Monday, but giving myself permission to start over any present moment, right? So
right,
even if I just ate a sleeve of Oreos, it's like, it's all right. I can start again right now. I don't have to wait till tomorrow. I don't have to wait till Monday. I can do it right now in
yeah,
this moment, this present moment, no matter what I did a
yep,
minute ago, 5 minutes ago. And this is what I did when I first got into coaching and listening to podcasts. And I was like, I just want to stop yelling at my kids and giving myself grace in the present moment and being like, it's okay that I just yelled at my kids. Obviously, I don't want to, I don't love that. I can love myself that even though that happened, I have
right,
to hate myself for that,
right.
but I
Because
can
we're going to
decide
yell
right now,
more.
right? And it didn't work, but I can decide right now to take a different mentality. And it doesn't have to wait till tomorrow or next year or when my kids grow up.
Totally, totally. This moment, this breath.
Yeah,
What do I want to do here?
I love that.
And and this is something that I also think is really important to understand is the most powerful words you can speak to yourself are I am and whatever follows,
Mm, sure.
right?
Yeah.
So if we're like, I'm a mess, I'm a
Yes.
bad mom,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy, I wish it like I'm not very good at like if like I should have known better, like
Yes.
whatever. Then think about how that makes you feel and
Right.
affects you,
Right.
right? But it could be something where we go, today, like we always want to be real
Right.
with what's going on for
Yes.
us,
Honest.
right?
100%. Yes.
Right. So, you know what? Maybe we feel like a mess,
Right.
right? So, okay. So today I feel like I don't like to say, we don't want to say I am, because think about
Correct.
the most powerful word. So I feel like a mess.
Right.
And I love to add the word and I put it all
Mhm.
in caps. Listen up. And it's okay to have an off day. I'm
Yes.
human,
It happens.
worthy of love.
Yep.
I'm perfectly imperfect mom, like whatever.
Yes.
And you know what? Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I nail it. I love me anyway.
Mhm. I love this. I do so much work with these ladies on separating your feelings from your identity. And that's really
Right?
the key, right? When you use the word I am, you're taking it on. You're saying, I almost possess this identity. I am a mess. It's who I am as a person. And when you take that on and you don't even question it, then it becomes something that you subconsciously just start creating more
Your brain's like,
evidence
all
for.
right, well,
Yeah, well, I
okay.
guess that's just what we are. And that's what we believe, no matter how much evidence to the contrary, we're just going to believe that we're a mess.
Yep.
We're just going to believe that we're not worth it. We're just going to believe whatever it is. And so it's starting to separate that It's powerful in so many ways, but again, the biggest one is really just saying, no, this isn't who I am. Who I am, my identity is separate from how I'm feeling. Yeah.
or our actions,
Yes, 100%. Yes.
right?
I'm always telling my clients, I'm like, what you feel is real, but it's not true. Your feelings are
It's your
real.
experience,
Yes, they're real
and
and
that's
you're feeling them and
okay.
it's great and it's totally fine. But just because you feel like a mess doesn't mean you are a mess. And just because
Right.
you feel worthless doesn't mean you are worthless.
Right.
So powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So the thing that I love is that just to realize we do have the power to decide what we want to think about ourselves. I am
Hmm.
whatever, and generate whatever feeling about ourselves. We have the power to do that. We
Hmm.
get to do that. And we don't need permission. I always thought I need permission from somebody, I don't know
Yes.
who, but somebody needs, maybe my mom or my dad or my husband, like somebody, or somebody just that doesn't even have a face, like feels like
Yes.
there's some sheriff out there that needs to come by and say, it's okay. You can do that.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
we have permission. We don't have to get permission from anybody but
Right.
ourselves.
100%. Yes. This is so funny. Not funny. Like, I love this so much. Learning that, like, I give my ladies permission all the time. I'm like, I give you permission to think this, but it's all about you. Like, we keep wanting someone outside of us to give us permission,
Yeah,
for your husband to give you permission to feel better, for, I don't know, whoever you think is the prettiest of all your girlfriends to tell you that it's okay that you think you're pretty too. Whatever it is, like, we think that there's someone out there who has the authority
right.
to allow us to feel things.
Yeah.
But that authority is actually ourselves.
Well, think about how many times somebody has said to you, you're great, like you're beautiful or
Mhm.
whatever it is. And you're like, they're just saying that because
Yes.
my husband, like we deflect
Uh-huh.
it,
Uh-huh.
if we don't really bel believe that or aren't working to believe that
Right.
within, we
Right.
just be like, oh yeah, they're just saying that to be nice,
Correct.
right? So, let's see. Oh, I did want to say, one of the ways that we can choose to do that is we can start with this. Each day, you can decide, like pick 3 feelings
Hmm.
that you want to feel,
Hmm.
be your guide for the day. This is because we can do that. Just as we
Hmm.
want to go back and like blah, 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 blah about ourselves, we're choosing to feel and think those thoughts,
Right.
right? And so choose 3 feelings that you want to feel for the day. Choose a specific, and like actually, and then what thoughts do we need to think to feel those,
Yeah.
right? And I just think that's really powerful to do. And if you have something that you like on your list of things to do for the day, pay attention. How do I feel about that? Oh, I
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to do that. Like I feel some, I don't know, resistance to it. You can change that
Right.
by
Yes.
deciding to think a different thought
Yes.
about it
Yes.
and emotion. And like I do that every day.
Hmm.
And it's like I have my to-do list and all the things I got to do or want to do. And then I'm like, what's the emotion I want
I
with
love
each one
that.
of these? Super powerful. And so you
So
can do
powerful.
that for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what solid self-love does,
I love that.
right?
Hmm.
Um, so then let me see. I just want to let's move to oh yeah, I want to say this. This is something that Brooke Castillo, she's the master coach with the school that we both went to for your listeners, right? I love what she said. She says, our relationship with ourselves is one of the only things that we have 100% control over.
Ooh,
We
I
can
love
love
that.
ourselves
Hmm.
no matter what anyone else does, no matter what is happening in the world, no matter no matter what anyone else says, no matter anything that we've ever said,
Right.
and any mistakes we've made, any transgression we've ever had with another person, we can still choose to love ourselves and them fiercely. No one can take that away from us. And then she says, we can't make other people love us. We can't make relationships work if the other person doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But we can make that choice for ourselves. We can make our relationship with ourselves work.
Oh, I like that.
I know. I love it. And I love the question at any moment to ask, what would self-love do?
Mm-hmm. I love this when you're thinking of almost like your past and present and future selves as three different people,
Mhm.
thinking of it as a different relationship that you have, right? It's like,
Yep.
okay, so my ladies resonate with this. It's like so many of them, their husband, right, is not working on the relationship and they are. Right?
Right.
And how frustrating is that? But think about that in terms of your past self. If that is its own relationship, are you working on it? Are both of you working on it? Right? Like, are you presently working on your relationship with your past self? Are you presently working on your relationship with your present self? Are you presently working on your relationship with your future self? Are you
Yeah.
the one working on it? Because you know what it's like to be in a relationship where someone's not working on it and it's negative and it sucks. And you're like, I hope you see the writing on the wall and I'm trying my best here, but there's only so much I can do. You got to step up. And that's kind of what it is, right? It's like, it's our turn to step up because this is the part we can control.
Right. Like,
Mhm.
let's not do that to ourselves.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of hypocritical, right?
Right.
If we're
Yeah.
like, don't you see what I'm trying to do? Like
Mhm.
with our husband's relationship, and like, well, what about let's just kind of turn that spotlight on ourselves. You know, I
100%.
mean, like not in a mean way.
No.
Like, come on, girl.
Yeah. This is what we can do.
Yeah, this is what we have control of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think is that another thing that Brooke said that I'm like, ah, so good. Think about this. Whatever you're doing in the moment, okay, because still on the present self. What would self-love do? And then adjust necessary, just as necessary. So if what I'm doing right now, does it honor my past self?
Mm-hmm.
Does it honor my present self? Does it honor my future self?
Mm,
Or is it kind of like I'm ignoring my past
right.
and I'm indulging in the
Yeah.
present and then I'm hurting my future self?
Yeah.
Because if it's not a net positive, it's not solid self-love.
Mhm.
It's like indulgence,
Yeah.
like if like I like we mentioned losing weight, right? So if I've lost some weight, if I bring my if I honor my past self in the moment, I'm not going to eat like right now it's Easter time.
Yeah.
So the Cadbury eggs, or you and I both love peanut butter
Yeah, I was like,
M&Ms.
the Reese's eggs are out.
So if I like eat a whole bunch of those, that's not loving my past self.
Mm,
It's
yes.
indulging my
Yeah.
present self
Mm-hmm.
and it's hurting my future self.
100%.
Right. So I just
Right.
love that check. Like, what would
Mhm.
self love do? And am I taking into account all three parts of me?
I love that.
Yeah. So let's move to your future self. Okay.
Love
She's
this.
pretty important,
Mhm.
right? We want to have a solid relationship with her, um, and be aware of her,
Yeah.
because I didn't know before I even did coaching, I didn't really know that you could actually access her.
Totally. Yes.
And she's been down there, the road, she's been there, done that. And she has a lot of wisdom
Mm-hmm.
that she can offer us and a lot of love and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? Like
Yeah.
who we want to be in the future,
Mhm.
we want to access her, but we also want to start like being her
Yes. Yes.
now.
Yes.
Um, and so I just think like sometimes like I'll talk to her.
A
Like I'll
hundred
like, you
percent.
know what, girl, I am doing this for you when I go out
Yes.
on a walk or I'm not going to eat all the egg, like I'm
Yeah.
choosing to do this for you because I want you to be able to feel good. I
Mhm.
want you to have like the option to run around and play
Right.
or to know how to regulate your nervous system or
Yes.
like whatever it is. And so I think it's really helpful to bring her in and think about her, listen to her. What would she can tell me to stop doing, start doing?
Hmm.
You know, how would she, what would she want me to do right now?
That's
What
such a
does she
great
need me
question.
to
I
do
love that question.
right now for her?
So often when we are in our present, we get so lost in all of our current thoughts and so
Mhm.
overwhelmed by our projections onto the future. It can be difficult to see what is best to do next, or what we want to do next, or find the courage to do what we want to do next.
Yeah,
And I have found it so helpful to really tap into my future self and to ask my future self, have a really clear idea of who she is, right? Is she
right.
more confident, right? Like, what does she look like? How does she feel about herself? And then I ask her, okay, what would she do in this
Yeah,
situation? And the answer always comes. It sounds ridiculous because she doesn't exist yet. She's like in our brains, but we have this relationship with her. And I think the biggest struggle is when you don't give yourself permission to believe that she's possible. So many of
right.
my women want to feel more confident. I know your clients do too, right? They want to feel more confident, but they almost don't even believe that it's possible, right? They're like, oh, they can't even put themselves in a place where that future self exists. And so it can be difficult, but in that moment, I'm always telling my ladies, like, even just giving yourself the hope of it,
Yeah,
then what do you do?
yeah. And that's the thing is, again, we might have to meet somewhere in the middle
Right,
if it's too far out, and that's okay.
right.
Like, that's where I love the bridge thoughts coming in,
Yes. If
that
it were possible.
yeah, that it's possible that I'm becoming a person that is I'm learning how to love and support
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
Or and if we can't really get to I love you, then I'm becoming a person that's learning how to accept
Hmm.
and support me,
I love this.
you know.
Good.
Um
Oh, this was so golden.
yeah. So let me just leave you with this we want we want to get to the part where we're just loving or accepting,
Hmm.
right? Whichever
Right.
where we are, your past, present, and future self. Um, and be solid and committed to those parts of ourselves.
Mhm.
Um, and again, like we talked at the beginning, you will have so much more of you to give to
Mm,
everybody else in your life.
right.
You can't get good at loving if you don't practice loving, and that starts with practicing on yourself.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Oh, I
Yeah.
am so glad that you came and shared all of this wisdom with us today. If my ladies want to meet you and work with you, tell them how they can find you.
So my website, marciowen.com. So MarcioWen. I'm also on Instagram, marci.owencoaching. I have a podcast, the Courageous and Confident Christian Mom podcast. Um, and I also have a self-love lab that's coming up in May.
I'm so
And so
excited.
that is going to be a really awesome. I'm really excited about it. It's my first course that I'm doing, and I've been working really hard on it. And so you can get on the interest list if you want more information that'll be coming out on that.
I'm so excited. Thank you, Marci, for coming on today. Thank you for
Yep.
sharing all of this with my ladies.
Thanks for
And
having
all
me.
my listeners, we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.